TheJamies.net.
Bermuda is a British island territory located in the Atlantic Ocean, famous for its pastel-colored buildings, rich history, pink sand beaches, and beautiful harbors. The capital city of Hamilton sits at the heart of the island and serves as its cultural hub. We spent a full day exploring Hamilton on foot, taking in the city's history, public art, beautiful parks, and great food during our June 2025 cruise aboard the Norwegian Getaway. In this video, we'll take you step by step through our walking tour, so you'll know exactly what to expect if you'd like to experience it yourself. Just a quick note that if you enjoy this video, please give us a thumbs up or leave a comment. It really helps our channel. And consider subscribing so you get alerted when we add new videos. We started our day in Bermuda by disembarking our ship at King's Wharf inside the Royal Naval Dockyard. From the dockyard, we traveled to Hamilton by ferry, which took about 30 minutes from dock to dock. The ferry cost $4.50 per adult each way, $2.75 for children ages 5 to 15, and children under 5 were free. It's worth noting that the Bermudian dollar is tied to the US dollar at a 1-to-1 rate, so you can pay in US currency, although change is sometimes given in Bermudian dollars. Sometimes the crew working the ferries allowed passengers to pay their fare in cash. Other times the crew required payment with tokens. Since it wasn't consistent from one trip to the next, we found it easier to just buy tokens ahead of time. At the Royal Naval Dockyard, tokens and multi-day passes could be purchased at the Visitor Services Center. The building was easy to spot since it was hexagon-shaped, painted pink, and located right next to the ferry docks. During our previous cruises to Bermuda, the center was always quite busy on the first day cruise ships arrived, so we made it a point to get there as soon as possible and were ready for a bit of a wait. Even though there was a relatively long line waiting for the early journey to Hamilton, our multi-level ferry had plenty of seating. In addition to some outdoor seating, the ferry also had an air-conditioned interior with window tables available, making the ride both comfortable and scenic. After arriving at the Hamilton Ferry Terminal, we turned left to start our walking tour at Point Pleasant Park. The park was home to a plaque marking the northern point of the Bermuda Triangle, which made for a fun photo op. The park also had a memorial with a sundial on top that honored the officers and men of the HMS Jervis Bay, an armed merchant cruiser that sacrificed itself during World War II so the convoy it was protecting could escape. And the Against a Tide sculpture, which is part of Bermuda's African Diaspora Heritage Trail, depicts a boat full of men battling a wave as a metaphor for survival. A plaque beneath the artwork includes a poem the artist wrote about the work. From the park, we also noticed public restrooms on the back side of the ferry terminal, which was a convenient stop before heading out. Leaving the park, we headed inland, walking along the left side of the multi-story building, along Point Pleasant Road. At the intersection with Front Street, the primary waterfront street in Hamilton, we crossed slightly to the right to continue inland along Parleville Road. After just a minute or two of walking, we came to the flower-lined stairs leading up to Queen Elizabeth Park. The staircase rose about 3 floors, up to a park entrance that featured Bermuda's oldest limestone moongate. These arches are found throughout the island and are considered symbols of good luck, especially for couples who walk through them. With our future happiness officially guaranteed by passing through the moongate, we continued into Queen Elizabeth Park, formerly known as Parleville Park. The park was filled with colorful flowers, shaded benches, and a collection of international sculptures. Among the highlights were Getaway, a dynamic bronze sculpture of a ballet dancer frozen mid-leap; Birds of Flight, a stainless steel sculpture inspired by Bermuda's long-tailed birds; and the Praying Mantis Fountain, a whimsical work that combines sculpture with flowing water. The bright coral-colored building located near the Praying Mantis Fountain sculpture was another convenient location for public restrooms. From the sculpture and bright orange building, we continued towards the east exit of Queen Elizabeth Park. Just before exiting the park, we turned left and walked between the two buildings to the Bermuda Historical Society Museum. Admission to the museum was free, with donations accepted. Inside, we explored several rooms full of centuries' worth of Bermuda history, including maps, furniture, portraits, documents, and other artifacts. While the museum was an interesting stop to explore, it's worth noting that during our visit, it was only open Tuesday through Thursday from 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. The Bermuda National Library was located directly next door to the museum. The library was home to several rare books, as well as a fun blast from the past: a working microfilm machine. Our jelly bean had never seen one before, so the friendly librarians offered a demonstration and showed us historical records dating back to the 1700s. It turned out to be a great stop, and as a bonus, we were able to use their free Wi-Fi. Leaving the library, we headed to Queen Street, then turned right and followed the street south and stopped at the front street entrance to the Gosling Brothers building to see the Clipper Ship Mercury mosaic. The artwork was created to commemorate the origins of Bermuda's famous Gosling's rum. Returning back to the intersection with Reed Street near the library, we walked to the historic sidewalk clock, which marked the location of the Phoenix Center. The flagship location of the Bermudian drugstore chain was established in 1902 as the first business on the island with electric lights. Returning to Queen Street, we turned right and walked further inland to the T-intersection with Church Street. Just across the street at the intersection was the When Voices Rise sculpture, which commemorated the 1959 theater boycott. The movement sparked progress towards greater racial equality in Bermuda. Turning left and heading west along Church Street, we found the colorful mural with "Greetings from Bermuda" painted on the side of the building, which made for a nice photo op. Turning around and backtracking a bit, we continued past the intersection with Queen Street and past the Hamilton City Hall, which we returned to later. At the intersection with Washington Street, which was also the location of the city's central bus terminal, we stopped at Café Açoriano. The cafe served a variety of traditional Portuguese pastries and other food. We ordered fried pastries called malasadas, which are similar to donuts, a custard tart known as a pastel de nata, and a coffee. We shared all of the snacks, and everything was delicious. The total for our selections was $11.25. Returning to City Hall, we took a few minutes to check out some of the outside points of interest, including the building's clock tower that was topped with a weather vane shaped like the Sea Venture, the shipwreck that led to the founding of Bermuda. We also stopped by the Rotary Clock, which was placed to commemorate the 90th anniversary of Rotary in Bermuda, as well as the Joy of Reading sculpture that depicted a mother reading with her children. A plaque on the wall near the sculpture marked the location of a time capsule to be opened in the year 2093. The City Hall building was built in 1960 in the style of traditional Bermudian cottages, including a white stepped roof that's found on nearly every building throughout the island. The roofs were designed to collect rainwater that is stored for later use, since Bermuda otherwise lacks easily available fresh water. The building was constructed of Bermuda limestone and native Bermuda cedar. Inside the building, the foyer featured portraits of past Hamilton mayors and a large, grand staircase. Upstairs, the Bermuda National Gallery featured galleries with Bermudian-themed art. During our visit, the gallery was open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. with free admission. The main exhibit featured works by local photographer Seth DeRoulet, while a smaller side room displayed pieces by Andy Warhol. Leaving City Hall through the north entryway, away from the main entrance facing Court Street, we headed towards Victoria Street and Victoria Park. As we made our way to the park, we looked behind us to spot a row of restrooms with colorful doors painted with the city's name. We continued walking along Washington Street and entered Victoria Park through its western gates. The park was established in 1889 to honor Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee. It featured a Victorian bandstand imported from Scotland, a series of walking paths, and public restrooms. We exited the park through the eastern gates onto Cedar Avenue and turned right to continue walking south all the way back to Church Street. At the intersection, we turned left to walk east to the Cathedral of the Most Holy Trinity, Bermuda's primary Anglican cathedral. The cathedral, which was mostly built from Bermuda limestone between 1886 and 1905, was designed in a neo-Gothic style with stained glass windows and soaring arches. Inside, the cathedral had a pulpit that was a replica of the one from St. Giles Cathedral in Edinburgh, featuring detailed artwork on both its sides and canopy. Behind the altar, a statue of Christ was surrounded on both sides by 14 saints, and the altar itself featured 3 biblical scenes: the Annunciation, the Crucifixion, and the Adoration of the Magi. Returning to Church Street, we turned left to walk east to the intersection with Parliament Street. The Sessions House, which was previously the home of Bermuda's Parliament, was located at the intersection. Constructed in 1817, the building has remained closed for renovations for several years. Turning right and walking south along Parliament Street towards the waterfront, we soon came to the intersection with Front Street. The Cabinet Building, which was located at the intersection, houses the offices of the Premier and the 11-member Bermuda Senate. In front of the Cabinet Building along Front Street, we stopped at the Cenotaph. The replica of London's memorial was built to honor Bermudians who died in war. Nearby, at the southeast corner of the Cabinet Building grounds, there was another memorial dedicated to the men and women of Bermuda who served in World War I and World War II. Continuing east along Front Street, we passed a building constructed in 1794 as the Customs House Warehouse and Town Hall. Historically, it served a variety of purposes, but the building has been closed to the public for several years. A bit further east, we paused for a quick break at the Supermart. It's always interesting to check the significantly higher prices of everyday goods compared to prices back home when we visit Bermuda. Continuing east, we made our way to 131 Front Street, which is home to the Bermuda Customs Department. After heading inside the building, we took the elevator up to the second floor to the Customs Department office. Inside, the customs officers stamped our passports with an official Arrive by Sea in Transit stamp for Bermuda. Leaving the building, we turned right and backtracked along Front Street. Continuing past the Cabinet Building, we walked for about 5 minutes to the Astwood Arms, a pub-style restaurant that offered a large menu of snacks, sandwiches, classic mains, and more. We sat down for an early dinner and ordered a Scotch egg, which was served with a golden, slightly runny yolk, wrapped in seasoned sausage, and a crisp outer layer. Cheesy fries, which came loaded with melted cheese and brown gravy, and reminded us of poutine. Sausage rolls, which were bite-sized with flaky pastry on the outside and savory sausage filling on the inside, served with a side of mustard for dipping. And a steak and Guinness pie, which had a golden crust and was served with rich brown gravy, creamy mashed potatoes, and peas on the side. We shared everything we ordered and enjoyed our entire meal. Our total, with tip included, came to just over $75. Leaving the restaurant, we walked east along Front Street, easing our way back to the ferry terminal. Along the way, we found a few more photo ops, including a Moongate mural, a Bermuda flag mural painted on the back side of the same building, and a large Bermuda sign set right along the waterfront. From the photo ops, we headed to the shops located at the nearby intersection of Front Street and Queen Street to purchase some souvenirs. Just like our previous visits to Bermuda, the store's prices were quite a bit better than the prices back at the Royal Naval Dockyard. Wrapping up our day in Hamilton, we made our way to the ferry terminal to catch the boat ride back to the port and our ship. Altogether, we spent about 6 hours enjoying our walking tour around Hamilton. The adventure was a fun way to explore the city on our own, while taking in a mix of history, art, culture, and delicious food.